everybody, welcome back to my channel. I've had a few questions about my intermittent fasting and I've had people ask me, what is it, how do you do it, and why do you do it? So today I'm going to answer some of those questions for you. First of all, what is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is a term used to describe an eating pattern. It cycles between a fasted state and a fed state, which is a time where you're stuffing your face. Rather than it being based about what you eat, it's based about when you eat. It is generally used as a weight management tool. And some people believe that it can actually help maintain a healthy hormone balance and blood glucose and blood lipid profiles. Intermittent fasting is typically a 16-hour fast, which includes the time you're sleeping, and then an 8-hour window where you can eat all your food. I normally start mine at about 1 or 2 p.m. and I eat until about 9 or 10 p.m. During my 8-hour eating window, I tend to eat healthy, as I personally am trying to up my intake of fruit and veggies. However, I don't turn down the odd dinner date with some family and friends, and I try to have the odd treat during social situations when it's appropriate. So even though this diet isn't focused on what you eat, it's not an excuse to just go and eat junk food as quickly as possible, because at the end of the day, we want to be healthy. Losing body fat doesn't always mean healthy, but my goal at the moment is to be healthy and manage my weight. Which brings me to why I'm doing this. As most of you know, I recently underwent surgery about 7 weeks ago. During my recovery, I was unable to do exercise. So for the first 2 weeks after my operation, I wasn't even allowed to walk for my exercise, and it's only been a week now where I've been able to be back at the gym, and that's only doing light leg workout. So I knew that in order to achieve that summer body, I needed to rely on my diet for that. Although Christmas was coming up, New Year's,
I've been away from home all year and needed to catch up with people. I had birthdays coming up, spontaneous road trips came up, I need to go visit the family, I need to go visit friends.
The list goes on. Calorie counting and food restrictions would have just put a massive damper on my summer holiday. So intermittent fasting sounded like the best option. However, I must admit, breakfast is normally the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. I wake up starving all the time. That's literally what gets me out of bed in the morning, is I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, food, give me my porridge. So it took me quite a while to get used to it. So how the hell does this thing even work? That's another question I've been asked. So really, intermittent fasting works well to aid weight loss by making your body fat storage, or your adipose tissue, more accessible as an energy source. Therefore, more of the energy that you burn throughout the day will come from your fat stores rather than the meal you just ate or the glycogen in your muscles. This is done through controlling the timing of your food intake in order to manipulate certain hormones responsible for deciding whether you burn fat or store fat. A main hormone here that we're going to discuss is insulin. I'm sure you've all heard that one before. After you eat a meal containing carbohydrate and protein, your blood sugar levels increase. As a result, insulin is released. Insulin's job is to encourage the uptake of glucose from your blood into your cells to bring your blood sugar levels back down to normal. So, insulin is a good guy. He maintains healthy blood glucose levels. If your blood sugar levels are too high, you develop diabetes type 2. So insulin's good. However, insulin inhibits lipolysis and gluconeogenesis. Lipolysis is essentially the breaking down of fat, which we want when we're trying to burn our fat. So if your insulin levels are high because you've had this carby breakfast, then fat storage is promoted and fat burning is not so favorable anymore, which is bad when you're trying to lose fat, right? Are you following? I think you're following. This means that once you've eaten your breakfast, and I'm not trying to put you off breakfast here, right? That is just how it works, okay? There's other diets that work in different ways. This is one way for one diet, if you do it right. So once you've had your carby breakfast and your insulin is released, you need to wait for your blood sugar levels to drop back down to normal with the help of insulin so you can start burning body fat again and undergoing lipolysis. And this occurs as you re-enter the fasting state. So another hormone that's worth looking at is adiponectin. Adiponectin is also involved in the regulation of your blood glucose levels, as well as fatty acid oxidation, which is used for burning body fat. Its positive effects towards maintaining healthy blood glucose levels explain how adiponectin has been shown to reverse insulin resistance in mice. Obese people tend to have lower levels of adiponectin, of which can contribute to the accumulation of visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs. It's bad fat. That's the fat that can harm you. So studies have shown that during intermittent fasting, your adiponectin levels increase. This can promote insulin sensitizing effects, which means you can essentially manage insulin resistance and lower your risk to diabetes type 2. Now that's some crazy stuff. I've also posted the links to these studies if you guys want to check them out. I'm not 100% sure if you can access them without paying, but it's worth trying if you know how to analyze scientific studies. There are also these other amazing metabolic pathways of which involve AMPK and certain protein expressions and mitochondrial biogenesis. If any of that means anything to you, please go look it up because I won't waste my time on here if you guys think I'm speaking gibberish. So really, overall, intermittent fasting manipulates your hormones in a good way that can pretty much decrease your risk to diabetes and lose fat. I have seen negative studies towards this because obviously there's always people that disagree and people that do agree. I looked into articles that suggested that intermittent fasting was bad for you and I wanted to see where they were coming from, and the main argument I find against intermittent fasting is normally about how it messes with your hormones. So I've just explained to you kind of the hormonal changes that I have found. There were other ones in these studies, but they all suggest that they have a positive effect. All the scholarly articles that I've found haven't suggested anything bad about it. So from piecing together for me, I'm happy to continue doing this fast and I hope it encourages you guys to give it a go too. If you try it out, please let me know how it goes because I would love to hear your feedback on it. If it didn't work, maybe we can talk about it and see why it didn't work. Could have been some misunderstanding about how to do this diet that may have interfered with results. So it's always worth talking about in case there's a simple fix. So there you go, that is all about intermittent fasting. We covered what it is, why I do it, and how you do it, and how the hell it works. Well, the surface of that. I hope I haven't bored you too much. To me, this stuff's really interesting. This is why I'm studying it. I just thought if I could give you guys the information to go and look into it yourself, then I'm blabbing. And again, it's just one diet that works a certain way and is appropriate for certain people. It worked for me. I lost about 6 kilos in 7 weeks, which is very fast for me. Probably a bit too fast, actually, in my opinion. So good luck, guys.